If you're watching this, you want abs. Everyone wants abs. They've become this weird status symbol. They're seen as like the sign of success. If you don't have a load of money, abs, something's wrong. I'm gonna teach you the good and the bad sides and how to keep abs without hating your life. Let's break this down so you can keep your sanity, your libido so your wee man doesn't go weak, and your social life and still move forward. And best of all, keep it long term. So let's go through how to actually get abs once and for all and keep them. So we're gonna break this down into a couple of sections. Nutrition, training, mindset. These are the main ones we're going to focus on with a few surprise areas that will help you. So most important, we'll dive into section 1, which is going to be your nutrition. This is super important. It's the thing everyone overcomplicates, so I'm going to make this idiot-proof for you. Here's how to set up your nutrition for idiots. So for calories, I want you to take your body weight and then times it by 14. If you're 180 pounds, times it by 14. This will give you like 2,500 calories. My math's good. It's somewhere around there. Take your protein, which is going to be 1 gram of protein for each pound of body weight. So if you're 180 pounds, it's going to be 180 grams protein. I find a really easy way to play with your fats is just to divide that number of whatever your body weight is in pounds by 4. So if you're 180 pounds, it'd be 45 grams of fat. And then I would just fill the rest with carbs, which in this example would give you somewhere around 345 grams of carbs roughly. Now you can play with this. If you prefer higher fats, you can have higher fats. If you prefer carbs, you can have more carbs and lower fats. I do think the baseline I would give though is that 45 grams of fat, that quarter of your body weight, to give you enough minimal fats where you're actually getting hormones in check and it's putting you in the best position. I think people overcomplicate these ratios so much. Whatever it is, as long as you adhere to it, that's the main thing. And if you can't be bothered doing that, you just DM me the word calorie game plan on Instagram and I'll send you over a guide that just lines it all out straight for you. This is one of the most important sections I feel people just mess up, and it's adjusting your calories. A lot of people set their calories once and just forget about them and think 2,500 calories, 2,200 calories, 1,800 calories is just going to do the work for you and you're never going to need to change anything. So what I need you to do is weigh yourself day 1 you start, and ideally weigh yourself fasted every morning. And when you weigh yourself fasted day 1 and then day 7, you should see a trend. You're either gaining weight, dropping weight, or staying the exact same. They're the only 3 things that can happen, okay? If you want to get abs and you're gaining weight, all you do is drop the calories by 20%. If you're staying the same weight 7 days later, you just drop the calories by 10%. And if you've lost weight, you just keep it steady because you are in a deficit, and that will help you get the abs because your nutrition's in check. Now, one thing I want to highlight is if you were like a 180 pound individual and you lost like 10% of your body weight, you are now a smaller animal. So naturally, a cat needs less food than a dog. So you'll need naturally less food as you become a smaller human. And one thing that I want to mention here is you need to track your steps and you need to track your cardio minutes. This will give you other options to adjust. So for example, if you stall with fat loss and you're struggling with dropping food, you can look at adding steps or cardio. These are the other options that will be beneficial to you. So the best way I can explain this is a case of if fat loss stalls out, you have tools in your toolbox and you've got steps, you've got cardio, you've got food drops. Now, I wouldn't recommend using them all at once. And if I had to say what works best, food drops are shown in science to pretty much make everything easier with a fat loss phase. So this is where you usually want to go first. Now, on the contrary, whenever that gets so difficult that you're like, oh, this is not the one, I'm not enjoying this, you might want to lean towards pushing your steps higher or your cardio higher so you don't have to cut your food as low. That's super important because we use these tools to help us bust through like fat loss plateaus. This section is one of the key things we want to break down. It's how to make the diet easier. Now, your diet does not need to suck whenever you're actually dieting. I just think because the term diet is in diet, everybody hates it. Look, you don't have to cut out sugar. You don't have to go keto. You don't have to eat a load of testicles. You know the story here. Hunger's what will ruin it. And I think a really good rule here, just whatever you're dieting or even eating in general, is 90% whole foods, 10% whatever you want. That means your lean protein should be chicken, beef, fish, eggs. Your healthy fats should be like avocados, nuts, olive oil. You want whole carbs to keep you full, like potatoes, oats. And then you can include 10% of foods you enjoy a bit more, like the sugary stuff. And that gives you a nice balance where you're satiated, but you're also hitting the micronutrients you need so that you're fueling your workouts and you're not getting hungry. Because if you do too much flexible diet, and I've seen this where people just eat what they want based off taste, they don't even worry about health. And yes, they might hit their calories, but as a diet goes on, what you notice is this person looks worse. They don't have as much muscle, they don't stay as full, their workouts go poorly, and you just notice they're more hungry and way more likely to break. And with this nutrition approach, you'll notice you'll dodge these binge restriction cycles and stop you turning into one of these people that is on the gym for 3 months, then off the gym for 3 months, and you go around in these big ass circles that lead you nowhere. So just having the mindset that this is a complete shift of how you're doing it. And if right now you're eating 90% garbage and 10% clean, just start with a 50-50 approach. Like never have 2 bad meals back to back and dial it up over time. Just remember though, with the nutrition pyramid, when you line it out, it goes calories, macronutrients, micronutrients, nutrient timing, and then supplements. So you can't move up the ladder of nutrition unless you nail one. So calories, macros, micros, nutrient timing, subs. Whereas a lot of people are nailing their calories and macros but falling down at micros and then wonder why they're not making the same progress. People overcomplicate this, but a mix of protein sources, healthy fats, carbs, get some veg and get some fruit in. It's not rocket science. People just love overcomplicating it. It's insane. Next up, something we have that people overlook, and it can actually screw you over or help you massively, is setting the time frame. People always go, how long till I see abs? How many more kilos have I got? It depends on your starting point. Like if you're 100 kilograms, you're like 230 pounds. You think you'll see your abs at like 90 kilos, maybe like 200 pounds. You might need like 12 weeks. And then you might be there, reassess and realize you need a lot more time. The best thought process I can give you is focus on consistency and winning the week. I know everybody wants the outcome. Everybody wants the abs. It's the reason you clicked on this video, but you won't get it without the key thing. You start motivation, you have consistency, and then people think you get results. There's a key missing ingredient. It goes motivation, consistency, patience. And that is the word everybody hates, but that is the one that you will learn throughout this process, because nobody goes from overweight to abs in 6 weeks, no matter what people sell online. Science is science, and it still takes time to get rid of the body fat. So set realistic expectations for yourself and standards. And as long as you're moving forward, realize that you're getting closer to your goal. Right, we've got like my favorite section coming up, talking about training. This is the best part. Because if you look at muscle while you're cutting, you're gonna look flat instead of sharp. You're gonna notice you just don't look as full. And that will trick your mind into thinking you're losing muscle. You're not. The minute you put carbs back in your body, you'll feel bigger, like you're gaining muscle instantly. That is carbohydrates, all right, inside the muscle. Because when you break it down, for every gram of carbs you eat, you hold 2 grams of water, and not like just belly fat water. You hold it actually in the muscle, so you look bigger and you can actually look leaner. That's why you see a lot of people that carb up for bodybuilding competitions look leaner and bigger at the same time, even though now they're heavier once they've started eating. It's because the glycogen in your muscles fills out, and that gives you, therefore, the look of bigger and leaner. But let's dive into this more. Don't let the mindset of feeling flat or not PRing every single lift affect your mental capacity to stay to the diet. Remember, the goal is to lose fat. It's not to build tons and tons of muscles. So we want to keep training heavy, the 6 to 12 rep range. Just like whenever you're lean gaining, that is key. We want to do 3 to 5 weight sessions. Whatever you're doing during the gaining phase, you do now. Stick with the same lifts and take 2 to 3 minutes between all your sets. This will help maintain your strength and push forward. Now, breaking this down, you're probably thinking, well, what is the perfect split to diet? Should I do 6 days? Should I do 3 days? Should I do 4 days? Should you do 1 day? Should you pick your nose? What I want you to do is do a similar training program to what you're doing prior, because you were consistent with it. If you're just starting off fresh, you can pick any of these. Now, if you do 3 days a week, I'd recommend something like a 3-day full body. Full body on a Monday, full body on a Wednesday, full body on a Friday. Hitting each muscle group with like one exercise, 2 to 3 sets, 6 to 12 reps. Really simple. If you're training 4 days a week, you're probably going to do something like push, pull, legs, upper, spread out throughout the week. And if you're doing 5 days, maybe something like upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, or push, pull, legs, push, pull. Any of them splits are fine, and you can break them up. And if you want them training programs lined out for you in more detail, I have tons of videos on the channel. You can click through and just get them programs. And if you're too lazy to watch them videos, which I know a lot of yous are, I've saved your ass. If you DM me on Instagram, 3-day program, 4-day program, 5-day program, I'll send you the program with video tutorials to save you even worrying about it. Now back into this. I don't like telling people you're not going to grow during a dieting phase, because I think it's the wrong mindset. But I want you to realize that as long as you're maintaining your strength or slightly moving up, you're good. And if you drop like 10, 15 kilograms, like 30 pounds, naturally you might be a little bit weaker, because now you're probably like 1/5 the size you originally were. So naturally a little bit of strength can go, but that will come back the minute the carbs go back in. And remember, 2 main goals whenever you're doing this game is going to be, if you're lean gaining, you want maximal muscle growth and minimizing your fat gain as you do that. And on the other hand, when you're dieting, you're looking to maximize your fat loss and minimize your muscle loss. So that is what this game is about. Don't try and do both at once. If you think of a dartboard and you've one dart, and these are both dartboards, you don't try and hit both with one dart. You've only got one dart. Stop trying to hit both. Doesn't make any sense. I touched on this other section like briefly, and this is probably one of the key things I want you to break down is your mindset. This is the biggest killer in anything. Doesn't matter what you're doing in life. Just realize and reset your expectations. You are gonna feel hungry in your dieting phase. Like, I don't know one person who doesn't. It's normal. And I want you to realize that it's gonna be difficult. You're gonna feel fatigue. That is normal. Nobody outwits that. And that's the difference between somebody who makes it and doesn't, is because they realize that is part of the journey. If I told you you're gonna be an Olympic level athlete and that was your goal and we were going for it, you would assume that would be hard, but for some reason the internet has tricked you into thinking dieting's going to be really easy because people are running around with abs 24/7 and they're either genetically gifted or they've some cheat code they're trying to sell you, when in reality it's simple, it's consistency, it's patience with the right plan, and you will get there. Just don't treat your down days like it's something off. Just realize that that is semi-normal, and that means you're actually making progress. Like if you're hungry, it's probably a sign you're losing fat. Now remember to plan in your downtime. This is something people don't do. They let diet and consume their life, and it's just, you're a monk, you've no social life, and you've no balance. And I don't love that word, but actually trying to have a life around dieting will make your life 10 times easier. So make sure you're planning once a week to meet your friends, even if it's not socializing, like you're doing something that just takes you out of your head. I've done that where like the highlight of my week was like a higher calorie meal on the weekend. I don't think that's beneficial long-term for your head. That is really dangerous. That's where like you get emotional eating. That's where you're gonna end up with problems. That's why keeping busy is like a key tip. If you're focusing on work, you've got other things to do, you're meeting friends, you'll notice dieting's way easier. So lean in with your mindset and realize this will develop you, but framing yourself mentally that this is gonna be tough is absolutely vital, because that preps you because you're expecting it to be difficult. Don't think that abs are magic. They're just one win. And then what I want you to do is take that momentum into other areas of your life. Make your relationship better, make your job better, make your headspace a better place. Don't just work externally. Abs aren't magic. They're not just going to all of a sudden have women surrounding you. I would tell you if they did. They're math, consistency, patience, but they're not the finish line. You're a byproduct of the habits, the routines, and you will lose them unless you ingrain this into yourself. So look, enjoy the process of it, not just the mirror. Enjoy, Joe, the small wins, like not snoozing, getting up early, actually doing the workout, showing up, and you'll end up keeping them without thinking whenever you ingrain these steps I've given you long term. That's pretty much it. You'll get abs with that. It's really straightforward. There's not much else to it. If you need a hand on anything, I'm always here. I'd appreciate a like, a share, subscribe, a comment if you thought this was any good. Big love. I'll see you in the next one.